There are houses that look like museums. Every object in its place, every cushion at the proper angle, every surface innocent of dust. You walk in and feel the need to lower your voice. And if you look closely, you notice something strange. No one truly lives there. The children play only in their room, door closed. Guests stopped coming long ago. And the person who built the museum walks through the rooms each evening, checking once more that everything is where it should be, alone, in the middle of a perfection no one admires anymore. Today's episode is about this person, about the one for whom nothing is ever good enough. Not the report a colleague hands in, not the homework a child brings, not the gift a partner chooses, and above all, nothing he himself does. About the one who has turned life into a construction site of errors to be corrected, and who has postponed joy until the day everything will finally be perfect. That day, let me tell you now, never comes. And there is something more, and here I ask for your full attention, because it is the heart of this entire episode. The condition we speak of today is confused, by nearly everyone, with another one, a condition that resembles it in name like a twin sister and differs from it like day from night. Stay to the end, and you will never confuse them again. I'll call him Christian. He is 45 and by all appearances a man to be envied. Chief engineer at a serious firm, respected, held up as an example. If you want it done properly, give it to Christian. That is what they say about him. And it is true. His work is flawless. Only no one sees the price. Christian stays late into the night, silently redoing his subordinates' work. Not because it is bad, because it is not done exactly the way he would have done it. To truly delegate strikes him as recklessness. If you want something done well, you must do it yourself, and then check it twice more. Christian has not taken a holiday in 3 years. The last time he did, he turned the vacation into a project. Routes timed to the minute, sites ticked off with a pen, meals scheduled. On the 4th day his wife, Roxana, sat down on a bench and refused to move. "I don't want to visit anything else," she told him. "I just want to sit." Christian looked at her, sincerely bewildered. To sit? What did she mean sit, when 3 items remained on the day's list? And used free time seems to him, to this day, time wasted. At home, rules are rules. The children do not play in the living room, because the living room must remain immaculate, though no one has visited in years. Money is saved, not spent. Christian has considerable savings and 10-year-old clothes, and at a restaurant he frowns at the menu as at a list of abuses. Not out of poverty, out of principle. Money is for the rainy day. And sunny days, in his calendar, hardly exist. And now, the detail that says everything. Christian is not unhappy in the way we usually imagine unhappiness. He is convinced he is doing everything right. That he is the last one holding things together, the only one with standards left in a world of shoddiness. When Roxana told him one evening, in a spent voice, that she could not live like this anymore, Christian was genuinely astonished. "But what am I doing wrong? I work for this family. Everything is in order. Everything is in order. The house is in order, the papers are in order, the future is secured. It is just that in that orderly house, no one has laughed in a very long time. Perhaps you recognize him. A parent, a boss, a partner. Or perhaps, and this cuts closer, you recognize a little of yourself. Before we attach any label, let us see what psychology actually says about this way of being. What Christian lives has a name in clinical psychology, Obsessive-compulsive personality disorder, OCPD, in the professional literature. It belongs to the same anxious cluster as the avoidant personality we discussed last episode, and it is among the most widespread personality disorders of all. Studies find it in somewhere between 2 and 8 people in 100, somewhat more often in men. At its core stand 3 words: order, perfectionism, control. But mind you, not the healthy order of an organized person, an order that has forgotten what it is for. The person drowns in details, rules, and lists until the purpose of the activity vanishes altogether. So much time goes into organizing the task that the task itself never gets done. Perfectionism stands in the way. The report cannot be handed in, because it is not yet flawless, and it never is. Work devours life. Overtime not out of need, but because rest feels like waste. Delegation is impossible, because no one does things exactly his way. Worn-out, useless objects are kept because you never know. Money is hoarded but never enjoyed. And over it all, a rigidity that will not bend. A rule is a rule. A principle is a principle, even when life humanly begs for an exception. Taken one by one, these traits can seem small, even respectable. Society rewards them. This person is punctual, honest, hardworking, dependable. This is precisely why the condition so often goes unnoticed, because it resembles virtue. But gathered together and carried to their end, they compose a destiny. Life is inventory. Every day a list. Every relationship, a set of rules. Every joy, postponed until after the work is done. And the work in this inner world is never done. And now the promise from the beginning. The name of this condition contains the words obsessive and compulsive. The same words as in the name of another, far better known suffering. Obsessive-compulsive disorder, the famous OCD. Two nearly identical names. Two profoundly different realities. And confusing them is not a dictionary error. It is a confusion that keeps people away from the right kind of help. Let us settle this once and for all. Obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, is a condition in which the mind produces obsessions. Intrusive, uninvited, often terrifying thoughts that storm in again and again. What if I didn't lock the door? What if I've been contaminated? What if, without meaning to, I harm someone I love? And to quiet the terror, the person develops compulsions, rituals, checking, washing, counting, repeating, that bring a few minutes of relief, after which it all begins again. And here is the key, so I will say it slowly. The person with OCD experiences these thoughts as intruders. He hates them. He fights them. He knows, with a heartbreaking lucidity, that his rituals make no sense, and still he cannot stop. In clinical language, this experience is called ego-dystonic, foreign to the self. That is why the person with OCD suffers terribly and, sooner or later, asks for help. With the personality disorder, everything is reversed. Christian has no intrusive thoughts tormenting him. No rituals he is ashamed of. His perfectionism does not feel to him like an illness. It feels like a virtue. Control does not feel like a burden. It feels like a duty. His experience is egosyntonic, in harmony with the self. Christian does not say, I have a problem with perfectionism. Christian says, I have standards. Other people are careless. It is not he who is out of place in the world. It is the world that is out of place around him. From this flows the difference that changes everything. In OCD, the one who suffers most is the person himself, while those around him often suspect nothing. In the personality disorder, the person functions, even shines professionally, and the ones who suffer are the others. The corrected partner, the child who trembles bringing home a report card, the colleagues whose work is silently redone, night after night. In OCD, the person knocks on the therapist's door. In the personality disorder, someone else usually knocks, the exhausted wife, the husband at the end of his rope. Or the person himself, but late, and not for the perfectionism. For what the perfectionism has left behind, a depression, a burnout, a marriage coming apart. One more detail for rigor. The two can meet in the same person. Studies show that a substantial share of people with OCD also carry the personality traits we are describing today. But to confuse them is to miss the essential. One is an illness you carry against your will. The other is an armor you believe to be skin. And if the armor believes itself skin, the natural question is, who put it there? How does a child come to believe that only the flawless deserve love? The story begins, as usual, long ago. As with nearly every personality disorder, there is no single cause. There is a dough, temperament, and there are the hands that knead it, the experiences of childhood. Some children come into the world more meticulous, more attentive to rules, more unsettled by disorder. Nothing wrong with that. It is merely a nature. For a nature to become a prison, something more is needed. And that something, in the stories we hear in consulting rooms, is strikingly similar from one person to the next. It is the story of the child raised in a house where love was not given. It was earned. A perfect grade brought warmth. A nearly perfect one brought a raised eyebrow and the question, why not more? Praise came rarely and only for achievement, never for simple existence. A mistake was not a natural part of learning, but a small betrayal. In such a house, the child draws a conclusion as logical as it is poisonous. My worth lies in what I do without error. If I err, I have not merely erred. I am less worthy of love. From that moment, perfection is no longer an ideal. It is a strategy of emotional survival. The child becomes the good child. Diligent, tidy, mature before his time, praised by all the relatives. No one notices that this admirable little person no longer plays. That he tears up the page and starts over for one crooked letter. That he has begun to confuse peace with control. If everything is in its place, if everything is done without flaw, then nothing bad can happen, and no one can be disappointed in me. You may remember last episode. The avoidant, also so often grown from rejection, defends against fear by disappearing. The child we speak of today defends against the same fear by ordering. Two different answers to the same unceasing question of a wounded childhood. How do I make sure I am never hurt again? One answers, I will no longer show myself. The other answers, I will no longer make mistakes. Ever. Any. And the child who swore never to err again becomes the adult of the museum house. The one who holds everything under control except his own life, which slips through his fingers precisely because he grips it so hard. Fine, you might say, but is every orderly, hard-working person ill then? Not at all. And it is essential to draw the line exactly where it belongs, because on one side of it stands a quality, and on the other, a suffering. Let this be clear, order, diligence, seriousness are not illnesses. They are true virtues, and the world rests on the shoulders of conscientious people. The difference between conscientiousness and disorder lies not in how well you work, but in a single question: who is serving whom? The conscientious person puts order in the service of life. He works thoroughly, then closes the laptop and goes to his child's birthday, and if the cake comes out crooked, he laughs and eats it. The person we speak of today has put life in the service of order. The birthday is an obstacle to the work, and the crooked cake a small personal defeat. Conscientiousness bends when life asks it to. The disorder never bends, which is why, in the end, it breaks. And there is one more sign, perhaps the saddest. The conscientious person enjoys the fruit of his labor. This person never gets there. Before the joy can arrive, he has already spotted the next error to correct. A word, too, about another confusion, with narcissism. It looks similar, towering standards, exactingness, criticism. But the narcissist is convinced he has attained perfection. Our man is convinced he never attains it. The narcissist admires himself. Christian corrects himself. Christian's harshest judge is not his boss and not his wife. It is the voice in his own head, which never gives him full marks. And now the hopeful part, because it exists even if its road here is more winding than with other conditions. The great obstacle we have already named. This person does not believe he has a problem. He does not come to therapy saying, I suffer from perfectionism. Just as no one goes to the doctor saying, I suffer from too much virtue. He usually comes through another door, a depression that will not lift, an exhaustion that sleep no longer cures, a partner who has finally set a condition. And a good therapist knows these are not merely troubles, they are gates. Once through the gate, the road exists. In psychotherapy, one works at the foundation of the whole edifice. The conviction that personal worth is earned through flawless performance. One works on the black and white thinking, perfect or failed, order or chaos, teaching the mind that between the two stretches, in fact, nearly all of life. And one practices, patiently, exercises that seem trivial to others and are, for this person, true acts of courage. Handing in work that is only very good. Leaving the dishes unwashed overnight once. Walking out with one cushion out of place. Discovering. And this is the moment when something changes in a person's eyes, right there in the consulting room, that nothing happened. The sky did not fall. His wife loved him that evening not less but more, because at last he sat beside her instead of making one final round of the house. And at the end of this road, it is not the chaos he feared all his life that awaits him. It is something he lost so long ago he forgot it existed. About that, the final words of this episode. And they are for you. I want to tell you a few simple things, as to a friend. If you recognized yourself in Christian, in his lists, his nights of redoing other people's work, his stopwatch holidays, his house where everything is in its place except joy, listen to me for a moment. The first thing, your rigor is not a character flaw, and no one is asking you to throw it away. It is a real strength, but a strength that was placed long ago in the service of a fear. Somewhere, sometime, a child understood that mistakes cost love. That child was you. And what you have done ever since, the control, the order, the flawlessness, is not malice and it is not pride. It is the way a frightened child tried to become unassailable. The armor deserves your thanks for all the times it protected you. And it deserves your noticing that the battle ended long ago, while you still sleep in it. The second thing, the one I would like you to carry away from this whole episode. The people who love you do not love you because you are perfect. They love you, full stop. Your child does not need a parent without flaws. He needs a parent who laughs. Your partner does not need an immaculate house. She needs you, sitting beside her, with the work unfinished and the heart present. And if it seems to you that leaving one single brick unlaid will bring the whole wall down, know that thousands of people like you have set the brick down, hand trembling, and discovered the astonishing truth. The wall remained standing. Only now it had a door. The third thing, if you feel you cannot loosen the grip alone, and it is deeply human not to be able to, because this grip has held you for a lifetime, ask a specialist for help. A psychologist, a psychotherapist. They will not try to make you sloppy, I promise. Nobody wants that from you. They will work with you on one thing only: to finally lay the tools down at the end of the day and sit at the table you yourself have built. How to find such a person, I have written in the description below this video. Christian, the one in our story, is a construction. But the museum houses are real, and they are many, and in each of them lives a person working himself to the bone to deserve a love he already had freely, from the very beginning. If you are that person, I wish for you to learn the most beautiful thing psychology has to say on this subject. Life does not ask you to be perfect. It only asks you to be present. See you in the next episode.